This video is brought to you by Nebula. Today, political fallout after chaos unfolded in the Irish Parliament. Israel continues raids in the West Bank, and Trump urges Putin to reach a deal with Ukraine or face more sanctions. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Thursday the 23rd of January 2025. In yesterday's briefing, we mentioned that Ireland's new government was set to enter office yesterday, but that didn't actually end up happening, as political drama unfolded on the floor of the Irish Parliament, eventually forcing the adjournment of the session that was due to nominate the new Taoiseach, or Prime Minister. As we mentioned yesterday, lawmakers in the Dáil Éireann, the lower house of the Irish Parliament, gathered to nominate Fianna Fáil leader Micheál Martin as the new Taoiseach, a fairly standard procedure that would then see him officially appointed to the post by President Michael D. Higgins. Following last November's election, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, two traditionally rival centre-right-ish parties, agreed to form another coalition government, similar to the one that's been in place prior to the election. Though instead of being joined by the Green Party, the new coalition would be supported by a group of independent regional lawmakers. However, these government-supporting regional lawmakers wanted to form a technical group that would allow them speaking time and other rights from the opposition benches. The Dáil Speaker, Verona Murphy, said she would provisionally allow this, kicking off an almighty row. The largest opposition party, Sinn Féin, as well as all other opposition parties, opposed the move, saying that the group that has pledged to support the government should not be allowed to sit on the opposition benches and take speaking time away from those actually opposed to the government. Murphy's attempts to carry on with proceedings as normal were unsuccessful, as chaos broke out in the Dáil, as opposition lawmakers protested and prevented things from moving forwards. One opposition lawmaker compared the drama to the British parliamentary chaos over Brexit a few years ago, and another said they were scenes not witnessed in a century. Here's a sample of what unfolded.
They should have speaking rights from the government side. That's where they belong. So I'm proposing we suspend the Dáil now. That's my proposal.
Deputy Carty, you're out of order. Please resume your seat. Please allow me. Please resume your seat. Resume your seats. I am going to be left with no option, Deputy. I will be left with no option. We suspend the House. I suspend the House for 15 minutes. You can suspend the House again if you can't resume.
We need to get the legal advice
Suspend the House for 30 minutes. Thank you, Deputy.
In the end, the session was suspended 4 separate times, and with no resolution in sight, the Speaker ultimately decided to adjourn for the day and try again on Thursday. That's today. Incoming Taoiseach Micheál Martin accused the opposition of trying to subvert the Irish constitution, while outgoing Taoiseach and Martin's coalition partner Simon Harris called the events an utter disgrace. However, Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou MacDonald blamed the chaos on the incoming government, accusing it of trying to place their independent cronies, supporters of the government, on the opposition benches. So, at the time of writing on Thursday morning, Ireland's new government is still not in post, and negotiations are ongoing to try and break the deadlock. The government's view is that the issue over speaking rights could easily be resolved through standing orders once the new government takes its place, but the opposition want it resolved before Martin is elected Taoiseach. However, in a sign of potential progress, the Speaker has decided not to recognise the regional technical group in today's proceedings, ahead of a quote impartial final decision, and both government and opposition sources reportedly described a leaders' meeting this morning as constructive. So by the time you've watched this, Ireland may well have its new government, but if that first session of Parliament was anything to go by, emotions are running high, and this parliamentary term could be a heated one. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like Second Flight, then consider joining the TLDR Daily Membership Programme for just $1.99. Israeli security forces are embarking on a military operation in Jenin, a northern Palestinian city in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, where more than 800 people have been killed since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas. Describing the raids, Israel's defense minister said the government is changing its security concept in the Palestinian territory, just days after a temporary ceasefire in Gaza has taken place. The raids began on Tuesday and are the latest in a series of deadly Israeli operations in Jenin and its refugee camp, which has become one of the main militant strongholds in the West Bank. 10 Palestinians were killed in the raids, all of whom the IDF described as terrorists. The raid was accompanied by the arrest of more than 25 people across the West Bank. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned the raid as part of an effort by the Israeli government, widely regarded as the most right-wing in recent history, to try to consolidate its occupation. The Financial Times also reported that the government wants to appease Bezalel Smotrich, a far-right settler who heads one of 4 parties in Netanyahu's coalition, from leaving the government over its decision to approve the ceasefire with Hamas in Gaza. Meanwhile, speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, the UN Secretary General has warned that Israel might seize the opportunity to annex the occupied West Bank, which is one of the political goals of the far-right lawmakers in Netanyahu's government. Donald Trump has warned Russian President Vladimir Putin that the US is ready to punish Russia with a barrage of new trade sanctions if Moscow fails to reach a deal with Ukraine soon to end the war. Trump's statement in a Truth Social post on Wednesday comes as the president tries to turn up the pressure on Moscow to start negotiations with Ukraine. It marks his first broad statement about the conflict since he returned from his second term in the White House, after promising during his campaign to end the war within 24 hours of returning to power. Trump wrote in his post, "If we don't make a deal, and soon, I have no other choice but to put high levels of taxes, tariffs, and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States and various other participating countries." Trump added, "Let's get this war, which would never have started if I were president, over with." During his confirmation hearing to be Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent last week told Congress he would be, quote, 100% on board for taking sanctions up, especially on the Russian oil majors, to levels that would bring the Russian Federation to the table. Moving to the UK now, where the publisher of the Sun newspaper has paid substantial damages and provided an apology to the Duke of Sussex, or Prince Harry, following a legal battle over claims of an unlawful intrusion into his personal life. This essentially refers to phone hacking by private investigators. The apology specifically relates to a serious intrusion by the Sun newspaper between 1996 and 2011, in which they admitted that incidents of unlawful activity were carried out. They also admitted and apologised for the extensive coverage and serious intrusion into the private life of Princess Diana, Harry's late mother. In the run-up to the trial, the Duke of Sussex explained that he wanted to get accountability for the other alleged victims, those that were subjected to similar unlawful techniques by media outlets. He alleged that in his case, there were more than 200 articles published by Newsgroup newspapers, the Sun's parent company, between 1996 and 2011 that contained information that had been gathered illegally. It's been reported that, in total, across multiple cases, NGN has paid more than £1 billion in damages to those that have been victims to phone hacking by the newspaper. Like a lot of things, this whole situation is very much in a state of flux. With us entering a new year and Trump re-entering the White House, well, the world has felt more stable, hasn't it? Every day we're faced with weird headlines, from Trump's attempts to take over Canada and Elon's wild ride in Europe, or even Trump trying to swap New Jersey for a shiny Charizard on the playground. Okay, that last one might not be real, but we do dive into the chaotic world of US politics in our series WTF USA. That's our series where we explain everything that's happened across the pond in the land of the free. Because while the election might be over, with Trump in the Oval Office, the number of WTF moments only looks likely to increase. Unlike some of our other more serious videos, the tone of WTF USA is more light-hearted, and takes something of an irreverent look at what's going on. If you're interested, WTF can be found exclusively on Nebula. Now, if you didn't know, Nebula is an independent, creator-owned streaming platform that specialises in thoughtful content. Over there, you can find creators like Wendover Productions, Real Life Law, and Legal Eagle, with many of them releasing their very own original series on the platform. We're super proud of WTF USA, and we hope that with your support, we'll be able to make other interesting, weird, and entertaining series with Nebula in the future. So signing up genuinely helps TLDR to grow and expand. You can also watch every normal TLDR video on Nebula ad-free, and in some instances before they land on YouTube. If you're not a member already, click our link in the description to get 40% off. We really hope you check out the series, and as always, thanks for your support.